Imagine yourself in a place of complete stillness. The light is soft, the air calm, and there is nothing here to disturb you. The outside world, with its movement and noise, is slowly fading into the background. As you breathe gently in and out, you begin to turn your awareness inward towards the quiet, living realm that exists inside you. Beneath your skin lies a landscape that never rests. It is not made of hills and rivers, yet it has its own flowing channels, its own valleys and peaks. It is not lit by the sun or the moon, yet every corner is alive with energy and quiet activity. It is your body, a complete world unto itself. Within this world, every moment is a moment of connection. Tiny pulses of electricity travel through nerves like silent lightning. Rivers of blood carry oxygen and nutrients to every cell, while streams of lymph flow gently, cleaning and protecting you. Muscles rest or contract in perfect coordination. Organs communicate in their own silent language, sending messages and chemicals and impulses, keeping everything balanced and in tune. If you could shrink yourself down, small enough to travel through the spaces between your cells, you would find a landscape more intricate than any city, more organized than any machine. Each cell, each structure, knows what to do without needing to be told. It has learned its role from the patterns of life itself, passed down through countless generations of living beings. The human body is not just a set of separate parts, as a collection of tools might be. It is a living ecosystem. Every organ, from the largest to the smallest, is both an individual and a collaborator. Each one has its own distinct structure, its own unique rhythm and pace of work, and yet, none works alone. Some of these organs are familiar to you. You may have felt the steady beat of your heart in your chest, the deep breath of your lungs as you inhale, the warm heaviness of your stomach after a meal. Others work in quiet secrecy, hidden away in the soft shadows of your body's interior. The liver, filtering and transforming chemicals, the kidneys, sifting the blood to keep its chemistry balanced, the glands of the endocrine system, sending out delicate messengers, hormones that shape your energy, your mood, and the rhythm of your days. This inner community is guided by a central coordinator, the brain. Soft, intricate, and endlessly active, it receives constant reports from every part of you and responds with quiet precision. It tells the heart when to quicken its pace, the lungs when to draw deeper breaths, the muscles when to relax or tighten. And the brain does this not as a strict commander, but as part of a partnership, because the heart, the lungs, the glands, and the gut all send messages back to it in turn. Even now, as you rest, this hidden world is working for you. The heart keeps pumping, sending life-giving blood through miles of vessels. The lungs keep exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide in the soft, air-filled chambers called alveoli. The stomach and intestines continue their slow work, breaking down food, absorbing nutrients, and sending what is not needed gently onward. Your immune cells travel quietly, watching for anything that does not belong, ready to protect you without ever waking you from your calm. Scientists call the body's ongoing balancing act homeostasis. It is the delicate art of keeping everything just right, not too hot, not too cold, not too dry, not too flooded, not too much of one chemical, not too little of another. This balance is constantly being adjusted, like the fine turning of a dial. If your temperature drifts upward, blood vessels in your skin open, allowing heat to escape. If it drifts too low, muscles shiver gently, creating warmth. The adjustments happen quietly, automatically, without any conscious effort from you. Your body has learned this wisdom over millions of years. Every part has evolved not just to work, but to work in harmony with all the others. The heart is not merely a pump. It responds to emotion, to movement, to rest. The lungs are not just air chambers, they respond to your needs in each passing moment, breathing faster when you move, slower when you are still. The stomach does not simply digest food, it communicates with the brain, telling you when you are hungry, and even influencing your mood. And though we often speak of these organs as separate things, there is no true dividing line between them. The heart relies on the lungs for oxygen. The lungs rely on the blood to carry that oxygen onward. The liver depends on the intestines for nutrients to process. The kidneys depend on the heart's steady pumping to bring them blood to filter. All are linked in a web of quiet, unbroken connection. This is the beauty of your inner world. It is one great conversation, spoken not in words, but in flows and pulses, in gentle changes of chemistry, in the movement of tiny particles from one place to another. Even your sleep, the state you are moving into now, is a gift shaped by this inner cooperation. The brain signals to slow the heart. The lungs soften their rhythm. The digestive system eases its pace, while the body turns attention toward repair and renewal. Tissues are mended. Memories are quietly organized. Energy stores are replenished. If you could listen closely enough, you would hear the soft hum of this work, the subtle rush of blood, the whisper of breath, the shifting of tiny muscles in your eyes as they dream. It is not a noise that disturbs, but one that soothes, a reminder that you are alive, and that this inner world carries you gently through each moment. So as we begin this slow exploration, we will move without hurry. We will pause often, allowing each idea to rest in the mind before moving to the next. We will meet each organ in turn, discovering not just its visible role, but its hidden strengths and secrets. Every organ has a story to tell, a story of ancient design, of perfect timing, of quiet service that continues without thanks or recognition. And as we hear these stories, we may begin to understand that we are not simply in our bodies. We are our bodies. They are not separate from us. They are us, in every breath and every beat. This is the journey ahead, a journey not to a distant place, but to a place you have carried within you since the moment you were born, a place that will remain with you always, the landscape within. 2. The organ as a concept. Before we can truly meet each of the body's organs in detail, it helps to pause and consider what an organ actually is. The word itself might seem familiar, but its meaning holds more depth than most people realize. An organ is not simply a lump of tissue sitting quietly in the body. It is a living structure, built from many different types of tissues, each carefully arranged and working together toward a shared purpose. Think of it as a small community within the larger city of your body. Within this community, no single inhabitant works alone. Just as a city needs builders, caregivers, planners, and suppliers, an organ contains different cell types, each with its own specialty. Muscle cells may provide movement. Gland cells may produce chemical messengers. Connective tissues may hold everything in place, while networks of nerves carry instructions and feedback. In the simplest terms, an organ is a cooperative. It exists because many smaller parts have learned to work together so well that the result is greater than what any part could achieve alone. This is what biologists call an emergent property, a function or ability that arises only when the components unite into a whole. When several organs with related purposes join forces, they form what is known as an organ system. The heart, blood vessels, and blood together create the cardiovascular system. The stomach, intestines, liver, and pancreas form part of the digestive system. These systems are like departments within a vast organization, each focused on its own tasks but always interacting with the others. One of the fascinating truths about the human body is that these categories are not as rigid as they seem in textbooks. Many organs quietly serve in more than one department. The liver, for instance, is famous for its role in digestion. but it is also deeply involved in detoxifying chemicals, storing energy, and even regulating hormones. The skin, often thought of only as a protective covering, participates in sensory perception, immune defense, and temperature regulation. Because of this overlapping work, it is almost impossible to draw a sharp dividing line between the body's systems. The nervous system and endocrine system constantly exchange information, blending electrical impulses and chemical signals. The immune system and circulatory system travel the same roads, carrying their respective passengers, immune cells, nutrients, oxygen, to wherever they are needed. The boundaries are useful for study, but in real life they blur into one another like colors in a soft watercolor painting. At its most basic level, each organ is built from tissues. There are four main types. Epithelial tissue forms linings and coverings, creating barriers and surfaces for absorption or secretion. Muscle tissue provides movement, whether the gentle squeeze of the intestines or the steady contractions of the heart. Connective tissue holds structures together, supporting and cushioning them, sometimes forming frameworks or strong cords like tendons. Nervous tissue carries messages, allowing rapid communication between cells and systems. These tissues are not random collections, they are precisely arranged to suit the organ's purpose. In the heart, for example, muscle tissue forms thick walls that can contract with great strength, while connective tissue anchors valves and maintains shape. In the lungs, delicate epithelial linings create thin barriers for gas exchange, supported by fine connective structures that keep the airways open. Every organ also has a distinctive appearance and texture. The liver is smooth and firm, with a deep reddish-brown color from its rich blood supply. The lungs are spongy and pale, their surfaces patterned with tiny branching airways. The heart is dense and muscular, its surface crisscrossed with vessels that feed its own tissues. Even without seeing them, we can imagine their forms, each shaped perfectly for its work. What is perhaps most remarkable is how these organs came to be. Long before birth, the human body begins as a cluster of cells, all seemingly alike. Over time, these cells receive signals that guide them into specific roles. Some will become nerve cells, others muscle, others the builders of connective structures. They gather into tissues, the tissues into organs, and the organs into systems. This unfolding process is a quiet miracle that happens before we even take our first breath. Once formed, organs are not static. They change subtly from moment to moment, adjusting their activity to match the body's needs. The heart beats faster during exercise, slower during rest. The stomach releases digestive enzymes when food arrives, then calms once its work is done. The skin opens tiny sweat pores to release heat, or closes them to conserve warmth. These changes are not random. They are guided by an intricate web of feedback signals that keep the body in balance. Because organs are so deeply connected, trouble in one can ripple through many others. A problem in the kidneys, for example, can affect blood pressure, which in turn influences the heart. An imbalance in the thyroid gland's hormones can change metabolism, mood, and even the rhythm of the heartbeat. This is why doctors often look at the body as a whole, even when symptoms seem to point to just one part. It is also why caring for the body is never about supporting just one organ. A healthy heart depends on healthy lungs to supply oxygen, healthy kidneys to regulate blood chemistry, and a healthy nervous system to keep its rhythm steady. Every organ plays a role in the well-being of the whole, and each benefits when the entire body is nurtured. The idea of the organ, then, is both simple and profound. Simple in that it is a structure built for a purpose. Profound in that its purpose is never entirely its own. It is always linked to the life of the whole being. An organ is a specialist, yes, but also a collaborator. It lives for the body, and the body lives because of it. As we move forward in this journey, we will meet each of the major organs with this understanding in mind. We will remember that none of them stands alone. We will listen not only to what they do in isolation, but also to how they speak to one another, how they share in the constant, quiet work of keeping us alive. In this way, each organ's story will be more than a list of functions. It will be a glimpse into a relationship, a partnership that has been refined over millions of years of life on Earth. And as we rest here, exploring them one by one, we may find a new respect for the intricate, patient, and endlessly creative design that makes up the human body. 3. The brain's whispered work. At the highest point of your inner landscape, cradled within the curved shelter of the skull, rests the brain. Soft in texture, yet unmatched in complexity, it is the conductor of the body's quiet orchestra. It does not shout its commands. It whispers them in pulses of electricity and streams of chemical messengers. These signals travel to the farthest reaches of your being, guiding every organ, every muscle, every quiet function that keeps you alive. The brain is a living tapestry woven from billions of nerve cells, called neurons, and an equal number of supporting cells known as glia. Together, they create a structure that weighs little more than a small melon, yet contains the patterns and instructions that define your thoughts, movements, and memories. Even when you sleep, it continues its work steady, tireless, always attentive to the needs of the whole body. It is not one uniform mass, but a landscape of its own, shaped into distinct regions, each with its specialty. The largest of these is the cerebrum, a pair of rounded hemispheres that oversee conscious thought, memory, and voluntary movement. When you recall a familiar song, solve a small puzzle, or simply choose to lift your hand, it is the cerebrum at work. Beneath and behind the cerebrum lies the cerebellum, smaller but densely packed with neurons. Its role is in coordination, smoothing movements, helping you keep your balance, and refining the precision of every gesture. You might think of the cerebrum as planning the dance, and the cerebellum as ensuring each step is taken gracefully. At the base, connecting brain to spinal cord, is the brainstem. This is the ancient, deeply rooted part of the brain, the one that manages the body's most basic rhythms. Breathing, heartbeat, and the gentle adjustments that keep blood pressure steady are all orchestrated here. It works without requiring your conscious attention, so that you may focus on the world around you while your body quietly tends to its own survival. Every part of the brain is encased in 3 protective layers, known as the meninges, cushioned further by clear cerebrospinal fluid that flows between them. This fluid not only absorbs shocks, but also delivers nutrients and removes waste, a gentle tide washing through the brain's delicate tissue. The skull, a curved vault of bone, provides the final safeguard, a sturdy shell around the mind's softest and most vital organ. Within this protected space, neurons communicate through an intricate dance of signals. A neuron receives information through branching structures called dendrites, processes it in its central cell body, and sends an electrical impulse down its long, slender axon. At the tip of this axon, the signal leaps across a tiny gap, the synapse, to reach the next neuron. Here, chemical messengers called neurotransmitters carry the message onward, passing instructions, sensations, or memories from cell to cell. This process happens at astonishing speed, but in a rhythm that remains quiet and unseen. Each signal is like a drop of rain in a vast, invisible river. Millions of these signals move through your brain every second, carrying the patterns that shape your every perception and action. One of the brain's most remarkable talents is its ability to integrate information from every sense. Light from the eyes, vibrations from the ears, scents, tastes, and the subtle pressure of touch all arrive at different entry points. The brain weaves these threads together into a seamless picture of the world, a world you can navigate, remember, and imagine. But the brain's work is not limited to the outer world. It is equally attentive to the world within. Specialized areas monitor the state of the body, its temperature, hydration, nutrient levels, and countless other conditions. If something drifts out of balance, the brain sends instructions to correct it. Thirst prompts you to drink. Hunger draws you toward food. Fatigue signals the need for rest. These are quiet messages, gentle nudges that help keep the body steady. Perhaps most mysterious of all is the brain's role in thought and memory. Within its folds lie the patterns that hold your life story, the places you have been, the people you have known, the skills you have learned. Some memories are vivid and easy to summon. Others rest far beneath the surface, influencing you in ways you may never notice. And with each new experience, the brain changes subtly, reshaping connections between neurons to hold what is needed and let go of what is not. While you rest, the brain remains active in a different way. It reviews and organizes the events of the day, strengthening certain memories and discarding others. In this process, known as memory consolidation, it is thought that your experiences are quietly filed away, making room for the new. This is one reason why restful sleep feels so restorative. It is not simply the body that is renewed, but also the mind. Even emotions flow from the brain's quiet work. Deep within its structure lies the limbic system, a collection of interconnected regions that give rise to feelings of joy, sadness, fear, and comfort. These emotions are not random. They are signals too, guiding behavior and shaping decisions in ways both subtle and profound. The brain's influence extends to every other organ. It tells the heart when to beat faster or slower. It instructs the lungs to draw in a deeper breath. It signals the stomach to release digestive juices, or tells the muscles when to tense and when to relax. These messages move along the vast network of the nervous system, reaching every corner of the body in moments. In many ways, the brain is both a leader and a servant. It directs, but it also listens. Sensory nerves report on touch, sound, sight, and internal sensations. Hormones in the blood carry information about the body's state back to the brain. Even the gut sends messages upward through its own network of nerves, sometimes called the second brain. Despite all of this complexity, the brain itself is silent. It has no pain receptors and cannot feel its own activity. Its work is known only through its effects: the steady rhythm of breathing, the presence of thought, the smooth motion of the body, and the subtle shift of feelings. To think of the brain is to think of connection. It connects each moment to the next, the inner world to the outer, the past to the present. It holds the knowledge of what the body has been, and it gently steers the course toward what it may become. And in its quiet way, it carries the essence of who you are, not just a collection of cells and chemicals, but the pattern of all your living days. As we leave the shelter of the skull and prepare to travel deeper into the body, we carry with us the understanding that every organ we will meet is touched by the brain's whispered influence. No breath, no heartbeat, no gesture escapes its awareness. It is the ever-present companion, guiding the harmony of the body's music, even in the deepest stillness of sleep. 4. The heart's rhythmic murmurs. Nestled within the quiet shelter of your chest, just behind the shield of the breastbone, rests the heart, a steady, tireless presence. It is no larger than a closed fist, yet it moves more than 5 liters of blood through your body every single minute. Its rhythm is the soundtrack of life, a gentle percussion that begins before birth and will not cease until life's final moment. The heart is a remarkable engine, but unlike the engines we build, it is alive. Each beat is not a mechanical thump, but a coordinated wave of muscle fibers contracting together. This motion pushes blood forward, carrying oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and countless other messages to every cell. The blood then returns to the heart, ready for another cycle, another journey through the body's endless network of vessels. Its structure is simple in concept, yet intricate in detail. The heart is divided into four chambers. The upper chambers, called atria, receive blood returning from the body and the lungs. The lower chambers, the ventricles, pump that blood back out again, the right ventricle sending it to the lungs for oxygen, the left ventricle sending it to the rest of the body. Between these chambers are valves, delicate flaps that open and close in perfect time, preventing blood from flowing backward. These valves give the heart its familiar sound, lub-dub, lub-dub, a two-part rhythm that has been with you since the earliest days in the womb. The first sound, lub, comes when the valves between atria and ventricles close. The second, dub, follows as the valves leading to the arteries shut. Together, they mark the passage of each heartbeat, a steady reassurance that the heart is faithfully at work. Wrapped around this structure is a sheath called the pericardium, a thin, protective sac containing a small amount of fluid. This fluid cushions the heart's movements, allowing it to beat freely without friction as it presses against surrounding tissues. The heart itself is composed mostly of a specialized muscle called myocardium, strong enough to contract for a lifetime without tiring. What makes the heart so extraordinary is that it does not rely on outside commands to keep beating. Within its walls lies its own pacemaker, a cluster of cells in the right atrium called the sinoatrial node. These cells generate tiny electrical impulses at regular intervals, setting the pace for the whole heart. The signal travels through a precise pathway, causing the atria to contract first, then the ventricles, pushing blood in a perfect, repeating cycle. Still, the heart does not work in isolation. The brain can speed it up or slow it down according to the body's needs. During exercise, signals from the nervous system quicken the beat, pushing more oxygen-rich blood to the muscles. In moments of calm, the brain slows the rhythm, conserving energy and allowing the heart to rest between beats. Hormones, too, influence the heart's tempo, carrying messages that adjust its work during stress, excitement, or deep relaxation. The journey of the blood is a quiet miracle in itself. From the left ventricle, oxygenated blood surges into the aorta, the body's largest artery, and from there branches into countless smaller vessels. These divide again and again, eventually forming capillaries so narrow that blood cells must pass through in single file. It is in these tiny passages that oxygen leaves the blood and enters the tissues, while carbon dioxide and waste products are gathered for removal. The blood then begins its return trip, flowing into small veins, then larger ones, until it reaches the right atrium. From here, it passes into the right ventricle, which sends it to the lungs. In the lungs, carbon dioxide is released into the breath, and fresh oxygen is absorbed. The newly oxygenated blood returns to the left atrium, flows into the left ventricle, and the cycle begins again, a circuit completed in less than a minute. Though this work is constant, it is not always the same. The heart changes its rhythm moment by moment. During sleep, it slows, letting the body rest. In moments of sudden movement, it quickens instantly, ready to supply muscles with the fuel they need. Even a deep breath can influence the beat, the heart subtly adjusting to shifts in pressure within the chest. Every heartbeat is also a messenger. The pulse you can feel in your wrist or neck is not just a sign of life. It is the echo of a wave traveling from the heart through your arteries. Doctors listen to this pulse for clues about the heart's strength, rhythm, and balance. In this way, the heart speaks through its movement, telling a story that can be heard without words. Beyond its physical work, the heart has long been seen as a symbol of emotion. While feelings truly arise in the brain, the heart responds so closely to them that it seems to share in their making. Fear can quicken the beat, joy can make it leap, grief can make it feel heavy. This connection between heart and feeling has been woven into human thought for thousands of years. The heart also adapts to the life you live. In those who train in endurance sports, the heart's chambers may grow larger, allowing more blood to be pumped with each beat. In those who spend much of their time at rest, the heart may not need to work as strongly. Yet whatever its size or pace, it remains faithful to its role, the quiet engine, at the center of your being. It is humbling to realize that this muscle, no larger than your hand, will beat more than 2.5 billion times in an average lifetime. Each beat is a gift, moving life through your body without pause. You never have to remind it to work, never have to oversee its efforts. It serves without question, without rest, from your first moment to your last. As you lie here now, your heart continues its rhythmic murmurs. With each contraction, it sends life outward. With each relaxation, it draws life back in. The cycle repeats over and over, unhurried, yet unwavering. It is the quiet companion that has been with you since before you could draw your first breath, and it will remain with you for as long as you live. When you next feel your pulse, perhaps you will think of it not just as a beat, but as a conversation, a steady exchange between your heart and the rest of your body. And as we leave this chamber of your inner landscape, we carry forward the awareness that every moment of your life is written in its gentle rhythm. 5. The lungs' gentle exchange. Just above the heart, filling much of the space within your ribcage, lie the lungs, two soft, spongy landscapes where air and life quietly meet. They are not solid like muscle, nor rigid like bone. Instead, they are light, elastic, and full of tiny airways that branch and branch again, until they end in delicate chambers, each one a place of quiet exchange. When you draw in a breath, air flows through your nose or mouth, down the long, flexible tube of the trachea, and into two main branches called bronchi. These bronchi lead into the left and right lungs, dividing again into smaller and smaller bronchioles, like the branches of a tree in winter. At the very tips are the alveoli, tiny air sacs, so small you could not see them without magnification, yet so numerous that the lungs contain about 300 million of them. It is here, in the alveoli, that one of life's simplest and most important exchanges takes place. The thin walls of each sac are surrounded by an equally fine network of capillaries. Oxygen from the air passes through the alveolar wall and into the blood, while carbon dioxide, carried from the body's cells, moves the other way, leaving the blood to be carried away in your next exhalation. This exchange happens silently, effortlessly, with every breath you take. The rhythm of breathing is gentle, but it is constant. On average, an adult takes between 12 and 20 breaths a minute, though the pace shifts with your needs. When you rest, it slows. When you move or exert yourself, it quickens, bringing more oxygen to your working muscles. The brainstem, that quiet and ancient part of the brain, oversees this rhythm automatically, adjusting it second by second to match the body's demands. Your lungs are protected by the rib cage, a flexible frame of bone that expands and contracts with each breath. The main muscle that drives this movement is the diaphragm, a broad, dome-shaped sheet of muscle lying just below the lungs. When you inhale, the diaphragm contracts and moves downward, enlarging the space in your chest and allowing air to flow in. As you exhale, it relaxes and rises again, gently pushing air back out. Supporting the diaphragm are smaller muscles between the ribs, called intercostals. They help lift and spread the ribs as you inhale, then assist in returning them to their resting position as you exhale. Together, these muscles turn your chest into a living bellows, expanding, contracting, expanding again in a cycle so familiar you rarely notice it. Breathing is more than simply moving air in and out. It is also a subtle form of communication between the body and the world, A slow, deep breath can bring calm, easing tension in muscles and lowering the heart rate. A quickened breath can signal excitement, fear, or physical effort. In this way, your breathing patterns reflect and respond to your inner state, often without conscious intent. The lungs are not only a gateway for oxygen, they also help regulate the balance of acids and bases in your blood. By controlling the amount of carbon dioxide released, they influence blood chemistry in ways that keep your body's environment stable. This fine-tuned regulation is another example of homeostasis, the quiet, constant balancing act that keeps you well. Within the lungs, air is warmed and moistened before it reaches the alveoli. The inner surfaces are lined with a thin layer of mucus, which traps dust, pollen, and other particles you might breathe in. Tiny hair-like structures called cilia move in coordinated waves, sweeping this mucus upward toward the throat, where it can be swallowed or expelled. This quiet cleaning system works day and night, keeping the delicate tissues of the lungs clear and protected. Even the shape and arrangement of the lungs reflect their role. The right lung is slightly larger, divided into 3 lobes. The left lung, smaller to make space for the heart, has 2 lobes. Both are covered by a thin membrane called the pleura, which also lines the inside of the chest wall. Between these layers is a small amount of fluid, allowing the lungs to move smoothly as they expand and contract. The lungs respond not only to physical needs but also to the subtler rhythms of life. In moments of stillness, your breathing may grow long and quiet, the diaphragm moving slowly like the tide. In laughter, the breath comes in quick bursts, shaking the ribcage with joy. In speech, the flow of air is shaped into words, carrying thought into sound. Every exhale you have ever made has been part of a pattern, sometimes unnoticed, sometimes deeply felt. Though the work of breathing feels effortless, it is an exchange on which every cell depends. Without oxygen, cells cannot release the energy stored in food molecules. Without the removal of carbon dioxide, the body's chemistry would quickly drift out of balance. The lungs bridge these needs, delivering oxygen to the bloodstream and carrying away the waste of life's quiet fire. This exchange is mirrored in the larger cycles of nature. The oxygen you breathe in was released by plants and algae through photosynthesis. The carbon dioxide you exhale is taken up by those same plants and used to build their own tissues. In this way, every breath is part of a wider conversation between you and the living world, a conversation that has been going on since the first breath of the first living creature with lungs. As you lie here now, your breathing continues without effort. Air flows in, cool and clean, carrying with it the promise of renewal. Air flows out, warm and used, carrying away what your body no longer needs. The exchange happens over and over, a rhythm older than your first memory, and as essential as your heartbeat. You may notice that your breathing has already softened. Perhaps the inhale is a little slower, the exhale a little longer. This is the body settling into rest, the lungs working with the heart and brain to guide you toward calm. Each breath is a reminder that you are alive, that life moves through you with every moment. And so, the lungs remain at their post, quietly tending the exchange between body and air. They do not ask for attention, but they are always there, expanding and relaxing, filling and emptying, in a cycle as constant as the turning of the earth. 6. The liver's quiet laboratory, tucked neatly beneath your right rib cage, sheltered under the soft dome of the diaphragm, lies the liver, a warm, resilient organ that quietly shapes the chemistry of your entire body. It is the body's master laboratory, working without pause to transform, filter, store, and release the substances that keep you alive and well. The liver is large, the largest internal organ in the human body, weighing about 1.5 kilograms in an adult. Its surface is smooth and a deep reddish brown, a sign of the rich blood supply that flows through it every moment of the day. 2 main lobes make up its form, each divided into thousands of tiny units called lobules. These lobules are the liver's workbenches, microscopic hexagonal arrangements of cells through which blood constantly flows. Every minute, the liver receives blood from two major sources. The hepatic artery brings freshly oxygenated blood from the heart, while the portal vein delivers nutrient to a rich blood from the stomach and intestines. Together, they feed the liver with the raw materials and information it needs to do its work. This dual supply ensures that the liver is always informed of what you have eaten, what nutrients are available, and what waste products may need to be managed. One of the liver's most important roles is detoxification. It filters out harmful substances, some that come from outside the body, such as alcohol, medications, or environmental toxins, and others that are natural byproducts of metabolism. Specialized cells within the liver break down these substances into safer forms, which can then be excreted through the kidneys or into the digestive tract for removal. But the liver is not only a cleaner, it is also a builder. It produces many of the proteins found in your blood, including albumin, which helps maintain the correct balance of fluids, and clotting factors, which allow your blood to seal a wound. Without the liver's quiet work, even a small injury could become dangerous. Another of its specialties is storage. After a meal, the liver takes in excess glucose from the blood and stores it in the form of glycogen, a compact, easily accessible form of energy. When your body needs fuel between meals or during physical activity, the liver breaks down glycogen back into glucose and releases it into the bloodstream, keeping your energy levels steady. It is a silent guardian of your body's fuel reserves. The liver also plays a key role in digestion, producing a golden green fluid called bile. This bile is stored in the gallbladder and released into the small intestine when needed, where it helps to break down fats into forms that can be absorbed. Without bile, the richness of foods, their oils, butters, and natural fats would pass through the body unused. Inside the liver, its cells, called hepatocytes, carry out thousands of chemical reactions at any given moment. They process amino acids from proteins, transform fats into useful forms, and manage vitamins and minerals. They even help regulate the level of cholesterol in your blood, producing it when needed and removing the excess when it is not. The liver's design is as elegant as it is efficient. Each lobule is arranged around a central vein, with blood flowing past rows of hepatocytes before draining away. Along the way, waste is removed, nutrients are adjusted, and the blood emerges transformed, cleaner, more balanced, ready to circulate again. Perhaps one of the liver's most remarkable qualities is its ability to regenerate. Even if as much as 2/1/3 of it is removed, the liver can grow back to full size within weeks. This resilience is rare among the body's organs and is a testament to its importance. Nature has given the liver this gift because its work is essential to survival. The liver is also a careful communicator. It works closely with the pancreas to maintain stable blood sugar levels, with the intestines to process nutrients, and with the immune system to monitor for infections that may enter through the digestive tract. It sends and receives messages in the form of hormones, chemical signals, and subtle changes in blood composition. Although it works constantly, the liver does so without fanfare. You cannot feel it working. You may only notice it when something disturbs its balance. Yet every moment, it is shaping your health, turning raw materials into usable fuel, removing toxins before they can cause harm, and keeping the chemical environment of your body in perfect order. It even plays a quiet role in mood and vitality. When the liver's chemistry is balanced, the body feels light and energetic. When it is overburdened by illness, by certain substances, or by the cumulative effects of stress, fatigue, and sluggishness can follow. Its influence reaches into every part of life, even those you may not immediately connect to an organ hidden beneath your ribs. The liver's relationship with the rest of the body is one of trust. The blood delivers to it whatever the day brings, nutrients, toxins, hormones, and byproducts, and the liver accepts them all, sorting and transforming, each according to need. It is a patient, meticulous chemist, endlessly adjusting formulas so that the body remains in balance. You might imagine the liver as a nighttime workshop, lit softly from within, where skilled hands move between benches, pouring, measuring, and refining. Outside, the world sleeps. Inside, the work continues, each process connected to another, every task vital in its own quiet way. As you rest now, your liver is at work. If you have eaten recently, it is processing nutrients, storing some for later, releasing others immediately. If you are between meals, it is drawing from its stores to keep your blood sugar steady. At the same time, it is filtering the blood that flows through it, catching and neutralizing any unwelcome guests. It works without pause, without the need for your attention, yet its influence touches every cell in your body. In the gentle order of the body's inner world, the liver is both a guardian and a craftsman protecting you from harm, shaping the chemistry that fuels you, and quietly ensuring that the whole organism remains in balance. It is a reminder that even the work we cannot see may be the most important of all. 7. The kidney's silent filtration. Deep within your lower back, resting on either side of the spine just below the rib cage, lie the kidneys, two small, vena-shaped guardians of the body's internal balance. Though each is only about the size of a fist, their work is constant, precise, and essential. They are the quiet filters that keep your inner waters pure, clearing away waste while conserving the elements your body needs to thrive. Each kidney is a marvel of structure and function. Its smooth outer surface hides a complex interior, where millions of microscopic filtering units called nephrons work in silent harmony. There are roughly 1 million nephrons in each kidney, and each one performs the same task, separating what is useful from what must be released. Blood enters the kidney through the renal artery, arriving rich with nutrients, water, salts, and the byproducts of the body's metabolism. Within the kidney, this blood flows into the nephrons, where the process of filtration begins. At the start of each nephron lies a tiny, looped bundle of capillaries called the glomerulus. Here, pressure pushes water and small dissolved substances out of the blood and into a cup-shaped structure known as Bowman's capsule. From this point, the journey of filtration becomes an act of refinement. As the filtered fluid moves through the winding tubules of the nephron, the body reclaims what it needs: glucose, certain salts, and much of the water, returning these precious materials to the bloodstream. The substances that are not reclaimed, excess salts, waste products like urea, and surplus water, continue onward, eventually becoming urine. This delicate process allows the kidneys to do more than simply remove waste. They fine-tune the body's water content, preventing dehydration when fluids are scarce and releasing extra water when they are abundant. They adjust the balance of salts and minerals, helping maintain proper nerve and muscle function. They also help control blood acidity, ensuring the body's chemistry remains within the narrow range necessary for life. The kidney's influence extends beyond filtration. They help regulate blood pressure by controlling the volume of blood and releasing a hormone called renin, which adjusts the constriction of blood vessels. They also play a role in red blood cell production, releasing a hormone called erythropoietin that signals the bone marrow to make more red blood cells when oxygen levels in the blood are low. Protected by layers of fat and muscle, the kidneys work quietly, rarely drawing attention to themselves. They communicate constantly with the heart, lungs, and brain, responding to changes in blood flow, oxygen levels, and hydration. When you drink a large glass of water, the kidneys respond within minutes, increasing urine production to maintain balance. When you are active and sweating, they conserve water, concentrating the urine so that less is lost. Even their connection to the bladder is a study in gentle coordination. Once urine is formed, it travels down slender tubes called ureters, propelled by rhythmic waves of muscle contraction. These waves are so soft and regular that you are entirely unaware of them. The urine collects in the bladder, a flexible reservoir that stores it until it can be released. Inside each kidney, the nephrons perform their work with astonishing consistency. Every drop of blood in your body passes through the kidneys many times each day. In fact, they filter about 50 gallons of blood daily, removing waste and adjusting balance without fail. This unending process is what keeps your internal environment stable, no matter how conditions outside may change. The kidney's design reflects both efficiency and elegance. The outer region, called the cortex, contains the filtering glomeruli and the first sections of the tubules. The inner region, the medulla, holds the loops and collecting ducts where water and salt levels are finely adjusted. These structures are arranged in neat, repeating patterns, like the rows of a well-kept garden, each performing the same vital task. One of the most remarkable things about the kidneys is their sensitivity. They detect even the slightest changes in the composition of your blood. A small drop in blood pressure or oxygen level, a minor shift in salt concentration, all are noticed and acted upon. This responsiveness is part of why the kidneys are so central to overall health. Though they work without rest, the kidneys are not immune to strain. Illness, injury, or long-term imbalance can affect their function. Yet they often adapt quietly, compensating for changes and maintaining balance until the challenge becomes too great. It is only when their silent work is interrupted that their importance becomes impossible to ignore. As you rest, your kidneys continue their watch. They monitor the river of blood flowing through them, deciding moment by moment what to keep and what to let go. They return cleansed blood to the circulation, lighter and more balanced than when it arrived. They send away the waste, guiding it gently toward removal. It is a rhythm as constant as breathing, as essential as the heartbeat. In the wider picture of the body's cooperation, the kidneys are quiet partners. They serve the heart by keeping blood volume and pressure within safe bounds. They serve the bones by helping regulate calcium and phosphate levels. They serve every cell by keeping the body's internal environment steady and clean. Imagine them now as twin streams flowing silently in the landscape of your body. The water is clear, the current steady, carrying away what is no longer needed while preserving what must remain. This flow is life-sustaining, yet so subtle that you may never have thought about it until now. As we continue our journey, we leave the kidneys to their work, knowing they will not falter. Their service is constant, their dedication complete. They are among the body's most faithful caretakers, filtering your life's waters with every passing moment, unseen yet indispensable. 8. The stomach and digestive harmony. Beneath your ribcage, slightly to the left, rests a hollow yet powerful organ, the stomach. It is the soft chamber where the journey of nourishment enters its next stage, transforming the food you eat into forms your body can absorb and use. Though small when empty, it expands easily, welcoming each meal and tending to it with slow, deliberate care. The stomach is more than just a container. It is a dynamic environment. Its muscular walls can churn and knead, gently mixing food with the digestive fluids it produces. These contractions move in waves, folding and unfolding the mixture so that every particle is touched by enzymes and acids. This process is both mechanical and chemical, breaking food into smaller and smaller pieces while preparing it for the passage ahead. The lining of the stomach is a living tapestry of folds called rugae. When the stomach is empty, the rugae lie in relaxed folds. When it fills, they spread smoothly, allowing the organ to expand without strain. In this way, the stomach can adapt to both a small snack and a large meal, holding anywhere from a few sips of water to several cups of food. Within this chamber, specialized cells produce gastric juice, a clear, acidic fluid, rich in hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes. This acidity is not harsh in intention, it is purposeful. It helps break down proteins into simpler chains of amino acids, making them ready for absorption later in the digestive tract. It also protects you by neutralizing many of the microbes that may have arrived with your meal. To keep itself safe from the very acid it produces, the stomach's inner surface is coated with a layer of mucus. This thick, protective barrier shields the delicate tissues beneath from irritation or injury. Just beneath the surface, tiny glands work continuously to renew this coating, ensuring that the stomach remains both a place of transformation and a place of protection. The stomach's activity follows a gentle rhythm. After food arrives, it spends time quietly processing it, mixing and breaking it down until it forms a semi-liquid substance known as chyme. This chyme will pass, a little at a time, into the small intestine, where further digestion and nutrient absorption will occur. The stomach controls this release carefully, so the intestines are never overwhelmed and can work at their own steady pace. But digestion is not only a matter of chemistry, it is also a process of communication. Long before food reaches the stomach, signals travel between the brain and the digestive system. The sight or smell of food can trigger the release of gastric juices in anticipation. Likewise, as the stomach stretches and begins to work, it sends messages back to the brain, influencing feelings of hunger and fullness. The stomach is part of a much larger digestive symphony. It works closely with the pancreas, which sends enzymes into the small intestine, and with the liver and gallbladder, which provide bile to help break down fats. Each organ has its moment to contribute, passing the work along in a graceful sequence that has been refined over countless generations of life. Within the stomach's walls are 3 layers of muscle, each oriented in a different direction: circular, longitudinal, and oblique. This arrangement allows the stomach to twist and turn its contents with precision, ensuring that everything is evenly processed. It is a slow dance of movement, invisible yet constant, the food gradually transformed under its care. For most of us, the stomach's work goes unnoticed. We may feel its fullness after a meal, or hear its gentle sounds when it is empty, but the true depth of its labor remains hidden. Even between meals, it continues to move and secrete small amounts of fluid, keeping itself prepared for the next arrival of food. The harmony of digestion depends on balance. If the stomach releases its contents too quickly, the intestines may not be able to keep pace. If it holds them too long, discomfort may result. Through a combination of muscle coordination, nerve signals, and chemical cues, the stomach finds the right rhythm, adapting moment by moment to the needs of the body. The stomach also plays a role in the absorption of certain substances. Alcohol, for example, can enter the bloodstream directly from the stomach lining, as can some medications. But for most nutrients, the stomach's role is preparatory, breaking food down into a form that can be fully absorbed later. The influence of the stomach reaches beyond digestion. Research has revealed a close connection between the gut and the brain, sometimes referred to as the gut-brain axis. Signals from the stomach and intestines can influence mood, stress responses, and even cognitive function. This means that caring for your digestion is, in a quiet way, also caring for your mental and emotional well-being. In the stillness of rest, your stomach continues its quiet labor. Even as you lie here now, it may be moving gently, tending to the last meal you ate, breaking it down, and passing it forward in measured portions. You are unaware of its work, yet every cell in your body will eventually benefit from the energy and nutrients it prepares. The stomach is a patient craftsman. It does not rush. It waits for the right time to send its work onward. It protects itself, even as it transforms the world within it. And in the larger story of the body, it is a reminder that transformation often happens slowly, quietly, without drawing attention to itself. As we leave this chamber of digestion, We carry with us the sense that nourishment is more than eating, it is a process of care, preparation, and balance. And within your own body, the stomach is the first true master of this art, keeping the harmony of digestion flowing from the first bite to the final absorbed nutrient. 9. The skin's protective embrace. Spread across the entire surface of your body, wrapping you from head to toe, lies the skin, your largest and most visible organ. It is the soft yet resilient boundary between you and the outside world, a living shield that protects, senses, and communicates without pause. The skin is more than a simple covering. It is a dynamic, multi-layered structure, alive with cells that grow, repair, and renew themselves in a constant cycle. At its outermost edge, it meets the world. Deep within, it connects with nerves, blood vessels, and immune defenses, forming an intricate network that serves both as armor and as a messenger. The skin has three main layers. The outermost is the epidermis, a thin but vital barrier composed mostly of cells called keratinocytes. These cells produce keratin, a tough, protective protein that helps guard against injury, dehydration, and invasion by harmful microbes. At the very top of the epidermis lies the stratum corneum, a layer of flattened, dead cells that are gradually shed and replaced. Beneath the epidermis lies the dermis, a thicker layer rich with blood vessels, nerve endings, and connective tissue. Here, collagen and elastin fibers provide both strength and flexibility. The dermis houses sweat glands, oil glands, and hair follicles, each with its own role in maintaining health and balance. The blood vessels within it help regulate body temperature, expanding to release heat, or narrowing to conserve warmth. Deeper still is the subcutaneous layer, or hypodermis, made of fat and connective tissue. This layer cushions the body, stores energy, and helps insulate against the cold. It also anchors the skin to the muscles and bones beneath, allowing the surface to move with flexibility while staying firmly attached. One of the skin's most remarkable abilities is its power to sense. Tiny receptors scattered throughout the dermis can detect the lightest touch, the faintest change in temperature, or the sharp sting of something harmful. These sensations travel instantly to the brain, guiding you to respond, to pull away from heat, to seek shade from the sun, or to savor the softness of a familiar fabric. The skin also plays a central role in maintaining the body's temperature. When you are warm, sweat glands release moisture that evaporates from the surface, carrying heat away. When you are cold, small muscles at the base of hair follicles can contract, raising the hairs slightly, a response sometimes called goosebumps. This action helps trap a thin layer of air close to the skin, providing a touch of insulation. Every pore, every gland, every hair follicle works as part of a larger system of balance. Oil glands release sebum, a natural moisturizer that keeps the skin supple and forms a barrier against water loss. Sweat glands not only cool you but also help remove small amounts of waste products. Even the skin's color, determined by the pigment melanin, has a protective function, shielding deeper tissues from the sun's ultraviolet rays. The skin is constantly renewing itself. Cells at the base of the epidermis divide and push upward, gradually flattening and hardening as they rise. In about a month, they reach the surface, where they form part of the protective outer layer before eventually being shed. This quiet cycle means that the skin you have today will soon be replaced, freshened from within without your even noticing. When the skin is injured, it responds with remarkable efficiency. Blood rushes to the area, bringing clotting factors and immune cells. Fibers of collagen weave a temporary matrix, forming the foundation for repair. Over time, new skin cells grow to close the gap, and the tissue strengthens until the surface is whole again. Even the faintest scratch sets this process in motion, a testament to the skin's constant readiness to defend and heal. The skin is also a communicator, a blush, a flush from exertion, the pallor of fatigue, all are visible signals of what is happening inside. Sweat on the brow can speak of heat or nervousness. Goosebumps may reveal a shiver or a sudden wave of emotion. These subtle expressions form part of the unspoken language between body and world. Beyond its physical duties, the skin is deeply connected to your sense of self. It is the part of you that meets others first, the place where handshakes, embraces, and gentle touches are felt. It is the boundary through which you experience the world, and the medium through which the world experiences you. The skin also works in partnership with other organs. Through exposure to sunlight, it helps produce vitamin D, which supports bone health and immune function. Through its network of nerves, it works with the brain to interpret and respond to the environment. Through its immune cells, it acts as an early warning system against harmful intruders. Even in rest, the skin is active. As you lie here now, it is quietly regulating your temperature, sensing the texture of what touches you, and renewing the cells at its surface. Sweat glands may be adjusting their output. Oil glands may be releasing small amounts of protective moisture. Invisible to you, but vital to your health, these processes carry on without pause. In the vast symphony of the body, the skin is both a shield and a storyteller, protecting the inner world while reflecting its state to the outer one. It is at once tough and sensitive, enduring yet responsive, capable of both withstanding and communicating the many conditions of life. And so, the skin's protective embrace is never withdrawn. It holds you constantly, not as a fixed shell, but as a living, breathing boundary. It is your companion in every touch, every breeze, every brush of warmth or coolness against your body. Quietly, faithfully, it keeps you whole. 10. The endocrine system's hidden signals. Hidden deep within the body lies a quiet but powerful network, the endocrine system. Unlike the muscles, which move with visible force, or the heart, which beats with a rhythm you can feel, the endocrine system works in near silence. Its influence is carried not by touch or sound, but by the slow, steady drift of chemical messengers known as hormones. These hormones travel through the bloodstream, moving from the glands that produce them to the tissues and organs where they take effect. They are subtle, yet their impact is profound. They guide growth and development. They help regulate energy and metabolism. They influence mood, sleep, and even the patterns of hunger and thirst. In truth, they shape the rhythm of life itself. The endocrine system is not a single structure, but a constellation of glands scattered throughout the body, each with its own special task. At the top of this network sits the hypothalamus, a small but vital region of the brain. The hypothalamus acts as a bridge between the nervous system and the endocrine system, translating the body's needs into hormonal signals. Just beneath it lies the pituitary gland, often called the master gland, because it releases hormones that control many of the other endocrine glands. From the pituitary, messages spread outward. Some travel to the thyroid gland, located in the neck, which regulates metabolism, the speed at which the body's cells use energy. Others influence the adrenal glands, perched like small caps above the kidneys, which help the body respond to stress, regulate salt and water balance, and influence metabolism. The pancreas plays a dual role, functioning as both a digestive organ and an endocrine gland. Its endocrine cells release insulin and glucagon, hormones that work together to maintain steady blood sugar levels. The gonads, ovaries in females and testes in males produce hormones that guide reproduction, sexual development, and aspects of mood and physical strength. The flow of hormones is not constant. It changes with the time of day, the body's needs, and the cycles of life. Cortisol, a hormone that helps manage stress and energy, is usually higher in the morning, preparing the body for the day ahead. Melatonin, which encourages sleep, rises in the evening, signaling the body to rest. The timing of these releases is carefully coordinated, often in response to cues from the environment such as light, food intake, and activity. Hormones work by binding to specific receptors in target cells, much like a key fitting into a lock. Once connected, they trigger changes within the cell changes that might cause it to grow, to release energy, to store nutrients, or to alter its own chemical activity. The effects can be swift, as in the release of adrenaline during a sudden fright, or gradual, as in the slow shaping of the body during puberty. Despite their powerful influence, hormones are released in minute quantities, measured in nanograms or even picograms. This precision is essential, for too much or too little of a hormone can cause imbalance. The endocrine system guards against such extremes through a network of feedback loops. When hormone levels reach their desired range, signals return to the glands, telling them to slow or stop production. When levels drop, the signal changes, calling for more. This feedback system is especially visible in the relationship between the hypothalamus, pituitary, and thyroid, a trio that works constantly to keep metabolism steady. If the thyroid's output dips, the pituitary increases its signal. If it rises too high, the pituitary reduces its message. Such adjustments happen continuously, fine-tuning the body's chemistry in response to moment-by-moment needs. The endocrine system also works closely with the nervous system. In moments of stress, the brain sends rapid nerve signals to the adrenal glands, prompting the release of adrenaline and noradrenaline. These hormones prepare the body for quick action, increasing heart rate, sharpening alertness, and directing more blood to the muscles. Once the moment has passed, other hormones help return the body to a state of calm. Beyond survival, hormones help weave the patterns of daily life. They influence appetite and digestion, the cycles of sleep and wakefulness, and the subtle shifts of mood and focus. They play a part in the growth of bones and muscles, the healing of wounds, and the readiness of the immune system. Over the span of years, they guide the great transitions of life: childhood to adolescence, adulthood to maturity, and the later changes of aging. The work of the endocrine system is, in many ways, an art of timing. The right hormone, at the right moment, in just the right amount, can open the door to growth, repair, or adaptation. This timing is so natural, so seamless, that we rarely notice it unless it falters. Then, even small changes in hormonal balance can ripple outward, touching every aspect of life. As you rest now, your endocrine system is active in its quiet way. Melatonin may be rising, signaling your body that it is time for stillness. Growth hormone, which aids in repair and renewal, may soon increase, tending to tissues that need restoration. Other hormones are guiding the flow of nutrients, adjusting the balance of salts and fluids, and preparing your metabolism for the hours of rest ahead. Though unseen, these chemical messages are among the most intimate forms of communication in your body. They are carried by the blood, reaching every cell, influencing its work without a sound. They are the whispers of the body's inner network, weaving together the cycles and patterns that sustain life. In the great symphony of your inner world, the endocrine system is the quiet composer, writing the score in a language of molecules. Each note is released with care, each phrase attuned to the rhythms of the body and the world beyond it. And even now, as you sink deeper into calm, its music continues, shaping the harmony of your inner life. 11. The immune system's watchful guardians. All throughout your body, in every organ, every tissue, and every drop of fluid, there is a silent patrol at work. You may never notice it, but it is always present: the immune system, your network of watchful guardians. Their purpose is both simple and profound: to protect you from harm, to recognize what belongs, and to quietly remove what does not. The immune system is not a single structure like the heart or lungs. It is a vast, interwoven network of cells, tissues, and organs, all linked by a common purpose. It works in the background at every moment, scanning for signs of intrusion, monitoring for injury, and responding to restore balance. In this way, it is both a shield and a healer, a defender and a caretaker. Some of its guardians travel through the blood and lymph, moving constantly from one region of the body to another. Others live in the tissues, settled in quiet watch over the places they protect. Together, they form a system that is as fluid as it is vigilant. The immune system's work begins with recognition, the ability to tell self from other. Every cell in your body carries tiny molecular markers that identify it as part of you. Immune cells can read these markers, distinguishing between the familiar and the unfamiliar. When they encounter something without the right markers, such as a bacterium, virus, or harmful particle, they know it does not belong. The first line of defense is the innate immune system. It is always ready, responding within minutes or hours to a threat. This system includes physical barriers like the skin and the linings of the respiratory and digestive tracts, which block many intruders before they can enter. It also includes certain immune cells, like macrophages and neutrophils, which can engulf and destroy invaders without needing prior experience with them. Working alongside the innate system is the adaptive immune system. This branch is slower to respond at first, but highly specific, learning to recognize particular threats and remembering them for the future. Once it has encountered a pathogen, the adaptive system can respond faster and more effectively if it meets it again, a principle that forms the basis for how vaccines work. At the heart of the adaptive system are two main types of white blood cells, B cells and T cells. B cells produce antibodies, uke-shaped proteins that bind to specific invaders and mark them for destruction. T cells have varied roles. Some directly destroy infected cells, while others coordinate the immune response, sending signals that guide the activity of other immune cells. These cells travel through a network called the lymphatic system, which includes lymph nodes, small venous-shaped structures scattered throughout the body. Lymph nodes act as checkpoints, filtering fluid and providing a place where immune cells can meet, communicate, and prepare for action. The immune system is not only a defense against infection, it is also a caretaker of the body's own tissues. It removes damaged cells, clears debris after injury, and helps guide the process of healing. When you cut your skin, immune cells are among the first to arrive, cleaning the wound and releasing signals that summon repair. One of the immune system's most remarkable traits is its balance. It must be vigilant enough to protect you from harm, but restrained enough to avoid harming you in the process. Too much activity can lead to inflammation that damages healthy tissue. Too little, and infections may take hold. The immune system walks this balance with quiet skill, adjusting its responses to the needs of each moment. It is also deeply connected to the rest of the body. Stress, sleep, nutrition, and physical activity can all influence immune function. The endocrine system sends hormonal signals that can raise or lower immune activity. The nervous system and immune system communicate constantly, sharing information about both the outer world and the body's inner state. Even in the absence of illness, the immune system is never idle. It patrols, learns, and adapts every day. In the lining of your gut, for example, immune cells monitor the constant stream of food and harmless microbes that pass through, responding only when something truly harmful appears. In the lungs, immune cells stand ready to react to any particles or pathogens that arrive with each breath. At night, while you sleep, the immune system continues its work. Some of its activity even increases during rest, as if taking advantage of the body's stillness to focus on repair and renewal. Sleep supports the production of certain immune cells and the release of signals that coordinate their actions. This may be why rest feels so restorative during recovery from illness. The immune system's memory is one of its greatest strengths. Once it has learned to recognize a pathogen, it can hold that memory for years, sometimes for life. This long-term readiness means that a second encounter with the same threat is often met with a swift, quiet victory before you even notice. You might imagine the immune system as a network of gentle but steadfast sentinels. Some walk the perimeter, scanning the horizon. Others stay within the walls, guarding the inner chambers. They speak in a language of chemical signals, each message a call to action or a reassurance of safety. The system is never asleep, never unaware. And yet, it is not an army that seeks conflict. Most of its work is preventive, stopping problems before they can grow. It acts in proportion to the threat, stepping forward when needed, standing down when the danger has passed. In this way, it is not only a protector, but a keeper of peace within the body. As you rest now, your immune system is at work in quiet harmony with all your other organs and systems. It monitors the air you breathe, the food you digest, the state of your tissues. It is part of the reason you can rest so deeply because it is watching over you. The immune system's guardians are unseen, but their care surrounds you in every moment. They are your lifelong companions, from your first breath to your last, walking with you through every change, every challenge, every quiet day of your life. And even now, in the stillness, they remain alert, keeping the world within safe and whole. 12. The reproductive organ's lifelong role. Among the many systems of the human body, the reproductive system holds a unique place. Unlike the heart, lungs, or kidneys, which serve your needs directly every moment of life, the reproductive organs are devoted to something larger than the self, the continuation of life itself. They carry within them the potential to create, to nurture, and to pass forward the patterns of existence that have been shaped over countless generations. The reproductive system is not only about reproduction in the literal sense, it is also deeply connected to growth, development, and cycles of change that unfold throughout life. From before birth until the final years, the reproductive organs play roles that influence the body's chemistry, structure, and even emotional rhythms. In the earliest months of life, before birth, the blueprint for the reproductive system is already forming. Whether developing into male or female anatomy, the process is guided by intricate genetic instructions and subtle hormonal signals. By the time of birth, the structures are in place, though they will remain largely quiet until the changes of puberty awaken them to fuller function. In males, the primary reproductive organs are the testes, two oval glands held within a protective pouch of skin called the scrotum. Within the testes are tightly coiled tubes where sperm cells are produced. This process, called spermatogenesis, is continuous from puberty onward, guided by hormones from the brain and the testes themselves. The testes also produce testosterone, the principal male sex hormone, which influences not only reproductive function, but also muscle mass, bone density, and certain patterns of body hair and voice. In females, the primary reproductive organs are the ovaries, two small, almond-shaped glands located on either side of the uterus. The ovaries contain a lifetime supply of immature eggs, each one held within a tiny sac called a follicle. With the onset of puberty, a cycle begins in which a small group of follicles develops each month, but usually only one egg matures fully and is released, a process called ovulation. The ovaries also produce estrogen and progesterone, hormones that guide not only reproductive processes, but also bone health, fat distribution, and the menstrual cycle. The uterus, or womb, is a hollow, muscular organ where a fertilized egg can implant and grow during pregnancy. Its inner lining, the endometrium, thickens each month in preparation for this possibility. If pregnancy does not occur, the lining is shed in the process known as menstruation, a cycle that continues from puberty until menopause. The male reproductive tract includes a series of ducts and glands that help transport and nourish sperm. The female reproductive tract includes the fallopian tubes, which carry eggs from the ovaries toward the uterus, and the vagina, which serves as a passage connecting the uterus to the outside world. Each structure, though distinct, works in harmony with the others, guided by hormonal signals and responsive to changes in the body and environment. Hormones from the reproductive organs influence much more than reproduction. In both males and females, they play roles in energy levels, mood, and even the health of the heart and bones. The deep connection between reproductive and endocrine systems means that changes in one are often felt throughout the whole body. The rhythms of the reproductive system can be seen in cycles and stages. In women, the menstrual cycle is the most visible, but both sexes experience longer-term changes over the course of life. In adolescence, the reproductive organs mature and hormone levels rise, bringing about the physical transformations of puberty. In midlife, gradual shifts in hormone production bring new changes in women, the transition of menopause. In men, a slower but still noticeable decline in testosterone levels. Beyond biology, the reproductive system is closely tied to intimacy, connection, and the human experience of closeness. The capacity to form deep bonds, to nurture life, and to care for the next generation is part of the legacy carried within these organs. This legacy is not only physical but emotional, woven into the ways we relate to others and to ourselves. Even for those who never conceive children, the reproductive system remains a vital part of the body's harmony. Its hormones influence metabolism, the growth and repair of tissues, and the stability of mood. The reproductive organs themselves work in partnership with the brain, heart, liver, and other systems, sharing in the constant flow of signals that keeps the body balanced. The reproductive system also holds one of the body's most remarkable capacities, the ability to bring forth new life from a single cell. The union of sperm and egg creates a new genetic combination, a blueprint for a new person carrying threads from both parents, yet entirely unique. This moment is both ordinary in nature and extraordinary in meaning, a continuation of the unbroken chain of life, stretching back to the beginning of humankind. In pregnancy, the reproductive system transforms. The uterus expands to shelter and nourish the growing child, supported by the placenta, a temporary but essential organ that connects mother and child through a shared circulation. The breasts prepare to produce milk, ready to sustain new life in its earliest days. Hormones shift to guide and support these changes, ensuring that every stage unfolds in sequence. After birth, the reproductive system gradually returns to its non-pregnant state, but its connection to the child remains in the form of nourishment, care, and the invisible bond formed through shared life. This is one of the ways the reproductive system extends its influence far beyond the act of conception, shaping not just the creation of life, but its first nurturing. As life moves forward, the activity of the reproductive organs changes. In later years, fertility naturally declines. For women, menopause marks the close of the reproductive cycle, accompanied by changes in hormone production that can influence many aspects of health. For men, the change is less sudden but still present, as testosterone levels slowly diminish. Yet even in these years, the reproductive system's influence remains woven into the body's overall balance. The reproductive organs are, in many ways, storytellers. They hold the history of your body's growth, the patterns of your cycles, and the memory of your changes. They are not simply instruments of reproduction, but integral parts of your identity as a living being, carrying within them the quiet imprint of the generations before you and the potential to influence the generations yet to come. Even now, as you rest, your reproductive organs are engaged in their own quiet rhythms. Hormones rise and fall in patterns shaped by your stage of life. Cells are renewed, Cycles move gently forward. Whether you are aware of them or not, these organs are part of the harmony that keeps your body whole. They are the keepers of continuity, the gentle bridge between the past and the future. And like every organ we have met on this journey, they work not in isolation, but in concert with all the others, a reminder that the body's truest strength lies in the unity of its many parts. 13. The senses and their subtle connections. From the moment you wake until you drift into sleep, the senses are your constant companions. They are the body's way of touching the world, of gathering its textures, colors, sounds, and scents, and weaving them into the fabric of experience. Yet they are more than just gateways to the outside. They are deeply connected to your inner life, influencing memory, mood, and even the rhythms of your heartbeat and breath. The 5 traditional senses, sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, work together in ways so seamless that you rarely notice their cooperation. Each has its own specialized structures, its own pathways to the brain, yet their messages arrive intertwined, shaping your understanding of the world and your place within it. Sight begins in the eyes, 2 rounded organs perfectly shaped to gather light. The cornea and lens bend incoming light rays, focusing them onto the retina, a thin layer of light-sensitive cells at the back of the eye. Here, rods and cones respond to the light, converting it into electrical signals. Rods are most sensitive in dim light and are attuned to shades of gray, while cones detect color and fine detail. These signals travel along the optic nerve to the brain, where they are assembled into the vivid, 3-dimensional scenes you perceive. But vision is not simply a mechanical recording of the world. The brain fills in gaps, adjusts for lighting, and integrates information from memory, giving you a continuous, stable sense of sight, even as your eyes move and the world changes around you. Hearing begins in the outer ear, where the unique curves of the ear's structure gather sound waves and direct them into the ear canal. They strike the eardrum, setting it into motion. This vibration passes through 3 tiny bones in the middle ear, the malleus, incus, and stapes, which amplify the sound and send it into the fluid-filled cochlea of the inner ear. Inside the cochlea, delicate hair cells detect the movement of the fluid, converting it into nerve signals that travel to the brain. The brain interprets these signals as pitch, tone, and location, allowing you to recognize a friend's voice, hear the rustle of leaves, or enjoy the harmony of music. Like vision, hearing is shaped by experience. The brain learns to focus on certain sounds, to filter out background noise, and to link sounds with meaning. Smell, or olfaction, begins high within the nasal cavity, where specialized receptor cells line a small patch of tissue called the olfactory epithelium. Airborne molecules bind to these receptors, triggering nerve signals that travel directly to the olfactory bulb and then to brain regions linked with memory and emotion. This close connection between smell and memory is why a familiar scent can transport you instantly to another time or place. The fragrance of a flower, the aroma of baking bread, the salt of the sea all can awaken vivid recollections, stirring emotions without a single word. Taste works hand in hand with smell. On the tongue, clusters of taste buds detect 5 primary tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Each taste bud contains receptor cells that respond to specific molecules in food. Signals from these cells travel to the brain, where they combine with information from smell, texture, and even temperature to create the full experience of flavor. Touch, perhaps the most versatile sense, is spread across the entire body. Within the skin, specialized receptors detect pressure, vibration, temperature, and pain. Some are tuned to the lightest brush of contact, others to deeper, sustained pressure. The sense of touch also includes proprioception, your awareness of the position and movement of your body which relies on receptors in muscles, joints, and tendons. The senses rarely act alone. Eating a meal, for example, draws on sight to recognize the food, smell to detect its aroma, taste to sample its flavor, and touch to feel its texture. Even hearing may play a part: the crispness of a bite, the gentle simmer of a dish being prepared. The brain blends these inputs into a single, unified experience. Beyond gathering information, the senses influence the body's internal state. The sight of a calm landscape can slow the heartbeat. A soothing piece of music can deepen the breath. The scent of a familiar place can release tension from the muscles. In this way, the senses are not just outward looking, they are deeply woven into the rhythms of the inner body. There are also senses that work quietly, without conscious notice. The vestibular sense, based in the inner ear, monitors balance and spatial orientation. Interoception, the sense of the body's internal state, allows you to feel hunger, thirst, or the need for rest. These senses shape your awareness of yourself, just as the traditional five shape your awareness of the world. Even in sleep, some senses remain gently active. The brain continues to process faint sounds, scents, and touches, alert enough to wake you if something demands attention. Others, like vision, rest more fully, yet are not entirely silent. Flashes of imagery in dreams hint at their ongoing presence. The senses are also adaptable. When one is diminished, the brain often enhances the others, reshaping its pathways to make the most of available information. This adaptability is part of the body's resilience, a quiet capacity for change that runs through every system. As you rest now, your senses are still with you, though perhaps in a softer mode. The light around you may be dimmed, the sounds quieter, the air carrying only the faintest sense. Your skin feels the texture of where you lie, your breath moving gently over your lips. Even in stillness, these connections remain a gentle conversation between you and the world, spoken in sensations rather than words. In the grand harmony of the body, the senses are the instruments that play the opening notes of every experience. They bring the world to you and carry you into the world, and they do so not as separate voices, but as a chorus, each distinct yet blended, each contributing to the fullness of life's music. 14. Communication between systems. Inside your body, no organ works in isolation. Every heartbeat, every breath, every movement depends on countless quiet exchanges between systems. These conversations happen continuously, flowing back and forth in loops of feedback and response. They are not spoken in words, but in pulses of electricity, in the drift of hormones, in the currents of blood and lymph. Communication between systems begins with the nervous system, the body's rapid messenger. Nerves reach into every organ, carrying signals to and from the brain. In a fraction of a second, they can tell the heart to beat faster, the lungs to deepen their breath, or the muscles to contract. These same nerves bring back information about temperature, pressure, and chemical balance, allowing the brain to adjust the body's activity in real time. Alongside the nervous system runs the slower but equally essential endocrine system. Instead of electric impulses, it sends its messages through hormones, chemical messengers that travel in the blood. These signals may take seconds, minutes, or hours to take effect, but their influence can last for days. Together, the nervous and endocrine systems form a two-way communication network, blending speed with endurance. The circulatory system is both a highway and a messenger in its own right. Blood not only carries oxygen and nutrients to every cell, it also transports hormones, immune cells, and waste products to where they are needed or removed. With every beat of the heart, it links distant parts of the body, ensuring that no organ is left out of the conversation. Even the respiratory system is part of this network. The lungs exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide with the blood, influencing how the heart works, how the brain thinks, and how the muscles perform. When the body's need for oxygen rises during exercise, stress or excitement signals pass quickly between the lungs, heart, and brain to increase breathing and circulation in perfect coordination. The digestive system, too, speaks to the rest of the body. Sensors in the stomach and intestines detect the presence of food and send messages to the brain, which in turn signals the release of enzymes, bile, and insulin. At the same time, the gut communicates with the immune system, sharing information about what has been consumed and ensuring that harmful substances are identified and dealt with. The immune system, for its part, maintains constant contact with nearly every other system. It can influence the brain through chemical messengers called cytokines, which may affect mood and energy. It works with the circulatory system to send immune cells where they are needed, and with the lymphatic system to drain away waste. Even the skeletal system plays a role in this great conversation. Bones are not silent supports, they store minerals like calcium and phosphorus, releasing them into the blood when needed. They also produce hormones that affect the pancreas, muscles, and even the brain. The muscles, in turn, release signaling molecules during movement that influence the metabolism, immune activity, and bone strength. Communication between systems is not only about action, it is also about balance. When one system is under strain, others adapt to help. If the heart works harder, the lungs provide more oxygen. If the liver is processing a heavy load, the digestive system may slow its pace to give it time. These adjustments happen without conscious thought, guided by the body's intricate web of feedback loops. This cooperation is most visible in moments of change. Imagine standing up quickly after lying down. Gravity causes blood to shift toward the lower body, but within moments, sensors in blood vessels signal the brain. The brain responds by tightening certain blood vessels and increasing heart rate, keeping blood pressure steady so you do not feel faint. Or consider the moment after a meal. As the digestive system works, blood is directed toward the stomach and intestines. The heart and circulatory system adjust to maintain blood flow to other organs. Hormones from the pancreas regulate the rise in blood sugar, while the liver begins processing nutrients for storage or use. Every system plays a part in handling the meal's arrival. Even rest is a coordinated event. As you settle into sleep, the brain signals the heart to slow, the lungs to breathe more gently, and the digestive system to quiet its activity. The immune system may become more active, the endocrine system releases hormones that aid in repair, and the body as a whole shifts into a state of restoration. What makes these conversations remarkable is their precision. The timing is exact, the response is balanced, the cooperation seamless. Each system listens as much as it speaks, adjusting its activity based on what it learns from the others. This mutual awareness is what allows the body to adapt to changes in the environment, recover from challenges, and maintain its inner balance. If you could listen in on these exchanges, they might sound like a constant flow of questions and answers. The blood pressure is rising. Should we slow the heart? Oxygen is dropping. Increase breathing. Nutrients are arriving. Release insulin. This dialogue is continuous, each message met with an immediate and proportionate response. Even though these signals are silent, you can sometimes feel their effects. The warmth that spreads through your body during exercise is the result of blood moving toward the skin to release heat. The calm that follows a deep breath is the brain responding to slower breathing patterns by easing heart rate and muscle tension. These sensations are the surface ripples of the deep current of communication within. In moments of harmony, the conversation flows easily, each system responding to the others with ease. When balance is disturbed, the dialogue becomes more urgent, with systems working harder to restore equilibrium. Yet even in these moments, the cooperation between them remains a constant, the unshakable foundation of the body's survival. As you rest now, this network of conversation continues. Signals travel along nerves, drift in the blood, and flow through the airways. The brain listens, The heart responds, the lungs adjust, the immune system prepares. Every part of you is linked to every other, and together they maintain the quiet, intricate harmony that is life. In the great story of the body, communication between systems is the unseen thread that binds the chapters together. It is the reason the heart beats in time with the breath, the reason the mind feels clear after rest, the reason the body can adapt to all the changes of living. And even now, in stillness, that conversation never stops. 15. The body at rest. When the day quiets and the body finds stillness, a gentle transformation begins. Muscles loosen, breathing slows, the heartbeat softens into a steady rhythm. It is the beginning of rest, a state as essential to life as movement or nourishment. Rest is not simply the absence of activity, it is its own kind of work, a time when the body turns inward to renew, repair, and restore. As you settle into rest, signals flow from the brain throughout the body. The parasympathetic nervous system, sometimes called the rest and digest branch of the autonomic nervous system, becomes more active. This system acts as a counterbalance to the fight or flight responses of the day. It slows the heart rate, encourages digestion, and promotes the release of calming hormones. The heart responds first. Its beat becomes slower and more economical, conserving energy while still sending blood to every corner of the body. Blood vessels may widen slightly, easing the flow and lowering blood pressure. The lungs match this pace, taking in air in slower, deeper breaths. Each inhale draws in oxygen-rich air. Each exhale carries away carbon dioxide, all without hurry. The digestive system quietly resumes its work. Freed from the demands of movement and activity, it can focus fully on processing food, absorbing nutrients, and sending them into the bloodstream. The liver continues its endless chemistry, balancing sugars, filtering impurities, and storing energy for the next day. The immune system also takes advantage of this time. Certain immune cells become more active during rest, circulating through the body to repair tissues, combat invaders, and strengthen defenses. This is one reason why sleep is so important to recovery. It gives the immune system the opportunity to work without competing with the demands of daytime activity. The endocrine system shifts its own rhythm. Hormones such as growth hormone, which supports tissue repair and muscle building, rise during deep sleep. Melatonin, which guides the sleep-wake cycle, reaches its peak. Cortisol, the hormone that helps mobilize energy for the day, falls to its lowest levels, allowing the body to fully let go of wakefulness. Even the brain changes its activity. In deep rest, brain waves slow, and different networks take over. The brain begins a kind of nighttime housekeeping, sorting and consolidating memories, making connections between recent experiences and older knowledge. Waste products from the day's activity are cleared away by the brain's glymphatic system, leaving the mind refreshed for morning. This internal renewal is not limited to sleep itself. Even quiet wakefulness, the kind you feel lying still with eyes closed, carries benefits. Muscles have time to release built-up tension. The heart and lungs settle into a comfortable pace. The mind shifts from focused effort to gentle reflection. These moments of stillness prepare the body for deeper rest to come. Rest also allows the body's repair systems to work together without interruption. Damaged cells are replaced. Small tears in muscle fibers, the natural result of daily movement, are mended. Skin cells regenerate. The lining of the gut renews itself. These processes require energy and resources, both of which are more readily available when the body is not actively moving or responding to the outside world. Temperature regulation also shifts during rest. As you fall asleep, your core temperature naturally drops slightly, a signal that encourages deeper sleep. Blood flow to the skin may increase, helping release excess heat. This cooling is part of the body's preparation for the night's repair work. The senses soften their vigilance. Vision rests as the eyelids close. Hearing remains lightly tuned to the environment, but filters out much of the day's noise. Touch sensations become less prominent unless something unexpected occurs. Smell and taste grow quiet. This reduced sensory input helps the brain focus on its internal tasks. Rest also creates space for emotional balance. During sleep, the brain's processing of experiences helps soften the emotional charge of the day. Dreams may weave together fragments of memory, easing tensions or exploring possibilities. Even if dreams are forgotten upon waking, the emotional sorting they support can leave you calmer and more grounded. In this quiet state, the cooperation between systems becomes even more visible. The heart and lungs move in harmony, supplying oxygen for the slow repair of tissues. The liver and kidneys filter the blood, removing waste so that cells can work in a cleaner environment. The muscles relax, allowing circulation to reach every fiber more easily. The beauty of rest is its universality. It is a rhythm found in every living thing. Trees rest in winter, slowing their growth to conserve resources. Many animals have daily cycles of activity and stillness, retreating to quiet places when the time for rest arrives. Even the smallest cells in your body have moments when their activity slows, allowing for repair and preparation. As you lie still now, your body is immersed in this ancient pattern. The day's labors are set aside. Your systems, still active, turn their efforts inward. The quiet hum of life continues not in the urgency of action, but in the patience of renewal. You may feel this shift in subtle ways: the gentle deepening of the breath, the steady comfort of the heartbeat, the loosening of muscles you didn't know were tense. These sensations are the surface signs of the work going on beneath the work of repair, balance, and preservation. And when morning comes, it will be this work that allows you to rise refreshed. The heart will be ready to quicken its pace, the lungs to draw in brisk air, the muscles to move with strength, and the mind to greet the day. All because, in the quiet hours, the body took the time to restore itself. Rest is not an interruption of life. It is a part of life's design, a pause that makes all other moments possible. It is in rest that the body remembers itself, gathers its strength, and renews its harmony. And as you settle deeper into stillness, you are joining in one of nature's oldest, most essential rhythms: 16 lifelong changes and adaptations. From the moment of birth until the final days, the body is in a state of gentle change. Some transformations are visible: the steady growth of childhood, the shifting features of age, while others happen quietly within, altering how the organs work, how the systems interact, and how the whole body meets the world. These changes are not abrupt leaps from one state to another, but gradual adaptations, shaped by time, environment, and experience. In the early years of life, change is swift. The heart grows stronger, its chambers expanding to move blood more efficiently. The lungs increase their capacity, allowing for deeper breaths and more vigorous activity. The brain develops rapidly, forming new connections with each sight, sound, and touch. Muscles lengthen, bones strengthen, and the digestive system refines its ability to process a wider range of foods. Childhood is a time when the body learns its own rhythms. The immune system, still gathering experience, builds its library of responses. The senses sharpen, becoming attuned to the details of the world. Hormonal systems establish their patterns, laying the groundwork for the changes that will come with adolescence. Adolescence is one of the body's most dramatic transitions. The endocrine system takes a leading role, releasing waves of hormones that guide growth and development. In both males and females, bones lengthen rapidly, muscles thicken, and the heart and lungs expand their capacity. The reproductive system matures, bringing cycles and patterns that will continue for decades. This stage is also marked by the refinement of coordination, as the nervous and muscular systems adapt to the changing size and shape of the body. Through early adulthood, the body reaches its peak in strength, endurance, and resilience. Organs function at their most efficient pace. The heart can respond swiftly to changing demands. The lungs can fill deeply with each breath, and the muscles can recover quickly from effort. Yet even here, change continues not in leaps, but in small adjustments to the life you live. An active lifestyle strengthens the cardiovascular system. A nutrient-rich diet supports the bones and muscles. Restful sleep fine-tunes the brain's capacity for focus and memory. As the decades pass, the pace of change shifts again. By middle age, the body has adapted to years of use. Some functions become more measured. The heart may beat a little more slowly at rest. The skin may renew itself less quickly, and muscle mass may begin to decline without regular activity. Hormonal changes emerge for women. The transition of menopause. For men, a gradual decrease in testosterone. These shifts are natural, part of the body's lifelong cycle. The body adapts to these changes with remarkable resourcefulness. The heart can strengthen itself through exercise. Even later in life, the lungs can maintain their capacity with regular movement and deep breathing. The brain can form new connections through learning and exploration, a flexibility known as neuroplasticity. The digestive system can adjust to new dietary needs, and the immune system continues to refine its defenses. In later years, some changes become more noticeable. The skin thins and loses some elasticity. Bones may become lighter, and joints may feel stiffer. The senses, too, may soften in their sharpness. Hearing may grow less sensitive to certain frequencies. Vision may need more light for clarity, and taste or smell may become subtler. These changes do not erase the senses' value. They simply alter how they gather and share information. Adaptation remains constant. Muscles respond to gentle strengthening exercises. The heart and lungs benefit from regular walks, from moments that raise the breath and quicken the pulse. The brain thrives on social connection, mental challenge, and curiosity. Even in advanced age, the body continues to adjust to meet the demands of each day. Throughout life, the body's capacity for healing may shift, yet it never disappears. A child may recover from a scrape in days, while an older adult may take longer. But the process is the same: cells responding to injury, replacing what is lost, restoring what can be restored. The immune system, too, continues its watch, adapting to new challenges and remembering old ones. Some adaptations are responses to changes in the environment. Living in a high altitude place, the body gradually increases its production of red blood cells to carry more oxygen. In warmer climates, the skin's sweat glands become more efficient at cooling the body. Muscles and bones respond to how much they are used, strengthening with regular movement, becoming lighter with inactivity. The mind and emotions adapt alongside the body. The resilience learned through experience can soften the stresses of change. Perspective shifts, valuing stability and balance over the intensity of earlier years. The rhythms of life, waking, working, resting, find their pace according to the needs of the present stage. What remains constant is the body's drive for equilibrium. Every system works together to maintain balance, adjusting as conditions change. If the heart's strength declines, the blood vessels may widen to ease its work. If the senses dim, the brain may rely more on memory and context to interpret the world. If the muscles weaken, other muscles may step in to share their load. These lifelong changes are not a sign of loss, but of adaptation. They show that the body is never static. It is always learning how to live in its current form, always adjusting to the present moment. It carries the traces of every stage before it, the strength of all it has endured, and the flexibility to meet what lies ahead. As you reflect on your own journey, you may see the subtle marks of these adaptations, perhaps in the way your body has learned to pace itself, in the foods you now prefer, in the movements that feel most natural, or in the rhythms of rest that serve you best. Each of these is a sign of the quiet conversation between your body and your life, a dialogue that began at birth and will continue as long as you live. And so, the body's story is one of continual transformation. From infancy to old age, it is a tapestry of growth, change, and renewal, woven from the threads of adaptation. Each stage prepares the way for the next, and each carries forward the lessons of the past. In this way, the body remains not only alive, but deeply in tune with the passage of time. 17. The beauty of biological cooperation. As we near the close of our journey through the human body, it becomes clear that no organ, no system exists in solitude. The beauty of life is not found in the strength of one part alone, but in the seamless cooperation of all parts together. This cooperation is not a choice the body makes. It is its nature. It is the quiet truth at the center of all living things. Survival and harmony arise from connection. Every breath you take is a reminder of this unity. The lungs draw in air, but without the heart to circulate oxygen through the blood, that air would remain unused. The heart can pump endlessly, but without the lungs to refresh the blood, its work would lose purpose. The muscles can move you through the world, but without the brain's guidance, the senses' awareness, and the bones' support, that movement could not happen. Even the smallest of actions, taking a sip of water, stepping into the sunlight, closing your eyes to rest, depends on the cooperation of countless systems. Your senses detect the world, your muscles respond, your digestive tract absorbs, your kidneys balance fluids, your skin protects, your brain interprets and guides. All of these steps occur together, without conscious thought, in the space of a single moment. The circulatory system carries more than just nutrients. It carries messages. Hormones from the endocrine system travel in the bloodstream to tell distant organs when to act. Immune cells ride these same currents, moving to where they are needed most. The nervous system links distant points instantly, while the lymphatic system offers a slower but equally important flow, clearing waste and supporting defense. When you think of the body, it can be tempting to imagine its systems as separate compartments, but they are more like musicians in a vast orchestra. Each has its own instrument, its own part to play, but the music only exists when they play together. A single note is important, but it is the harmony that creates the fullness of sound. The cooperation of the body is not static. It is adaptable. It shifts with your needs, with the environment, with the moment you are in. When you exercise, the heart, lungs, and muscles work at a higher tempo, while digestion slows. When you rest, the heart eases, the lungs soften, and the digestive system takes its turn in the spotlight. When you face a challenge, stress hormones prepare the body for quick action. When safety returns, calming signals restore balance. This adaptability is itself a form of cooperation, the willingness of each system to change its rhythm for the good of the whole. No organ clings stubbornly to its own pace. Each listens to the signals of the others and responds accordingly. It is a dance of give and take, a conversation in which every voice matters. Cooperation is also the key to resilience. If one part of the body struggles, others step in to help. When the heart's strength falters, blood vessels widen to ease its work. When the lungs need rest, the muscles may take in shallower breaths to protect them. When the senses dim, memory and pattern recognition help fill in the missing details. This is how the body endures, not by perfection, but by partnership. Even healing is a cooperative act. When skin is cut, the circulatory system brings clotting factors and immune cells to the site. The immune system clears away debris and prevents infection. The skin's own cells divide and migrate to close the wound. Muscles and connective tissue adapt around the injury while it heals. No one system repairs the damage alone. All join in the work. The beauty of biological cooperation extends beyond the individual. The body's survival depends on cooperation with the environment, the air you breathe, the food you eat, the water you drink. These in turn come from the Earth's own systems, the oxygen released by plants, the nutrients formed in the soil, the water cycled through rivers and rain. In this way, your body's cooperation is part of an even greater harmony, one that links you to all living things. It is humbling to think that the same principles that govern the body's unity also govern life itself. A forest thrives when its trees, soil, water, and creatures support one another. An ecosystem remains stable when every part plays its role in balance. The body is like this, a living ecosystem of cells and systems, each working not for itself alone, but for the survival of the whole. And within you, this cooperation is constant. It does not rest. It does not take time away. Even now, as you lie still and quiet, your organs are in conversation. The brain senses the body's state and adjusts its signals. The heart keeps time with your breath. The liver and kidneys balance your chemistry. The skin monitors your environment. The immune system watches over all. You may never hear these conversations, yet they are the foundation of your life. The steadiness you feel in your body, the sense of being whole, is the result of countless small agreements between your cells and systems agreements that have been kept faithfully since the first moment you began to live. As we close this journey, perhaps you can feel a new appreciation for the subtle art of this cooperation. It is not dramatic. It does not seek recognition. It is the background harmony that allows every other part of life to unfold. It is the reason you can move, think, feel, and simply be. Your body is not a collection of parts, but a community, a living, breathing, adapting community, where every member plays a role, where every member depends on the others. It is this unity that gives you strength, resilience, and life itself. And so, as you rest now, you are held not only by the quiet of the world around you, but by the quiet cooperation within you, a harmony as old as life and as enduring as the breath you take in this moment.